I want to make one more point. The problem is with that post is we're not dealing with professional wrestlers. We're dealing with marks.
I'm the one star, Caden Felix, and right now, I'm gonna be your host. And I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Marvelous, James Runyon. Join us as we cast as cast can. Listen, because right now you're listening to the auspicious, autistic analysis of professional wrestling, where we cast the questions and catch the lies. Isn't that right?
This is the Cast Camp podcast, and it seems like it's been forever since we've been here, eh?
It's been 2 weeks, technically, but there's so much has happened. So much has happened that it seems like a lot longer. And it's this time of year as well, isn't it?
We made so many waves. We got 600 views on YouTube. Can you believe that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I believe it. I believe it because we had some YouTube troubles, didn't we?
Well, yeah, so we wanted to get this to you sooner, but we had some technical difficulty. That's why it's late. We'll probably get these to you more frequently. But I think today we're going to look at this massive response that we've gotten from episode 1. What is it? What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I want to say we wouldn't normally talk about technical difficulties and things like that, but this specific one speaks to the impact that we had, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. So I'll just pull up what I got here. So we put the video up. It was Sunday, right? Yeah. And immediately we got a lot of traffic. And we got so much traffic. I woke up, I think it was Tuesday morning. I woke up and I had this. This video is no longer available because the YouTube account associated with the video has been terminated. We got terminated. We had so much volume to start out that YouTube took us down because they thought we couldn't be real.
Well, it being YouTube, and let's go through some of our questions that we asked ourselves.
Well, no, but there were some. It didn't help that probably we got a lot of complaints on the video.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention was we were racking our minds for the reason. Could it have been because we were using terms like retards and pussies? Well, could it have been that?
I think it was an amalgamation of things, really.
Well, it could be, but YouTube did give us a specific reason.
Well, so we appealed it immediately. We talked to YouTube, and YouTube checked off on everything, and we got it back up. And like we said, we got 600 views.
And the terminology I think they used was, we don't have a screen cap of that, but it was an unexpected surge in viewership. Is that right, Runyon?
It was incredible response, and we really didn't promote it that much. We just put it on the indie board, eh?
I didn't put it on my personal page. You didn't put it on your personal page.
No, I just put it on the indie board. And
we put it on the indie board, and as we predicted, the hate watchers, they came out to watch. They didn't subscribe, but they came to watch, and everybody cared. Despite the fact we get so many posts saying, no one cares. No one cares about your post, Runyon. No one cares about Catch as Catch Can. Yet the views speak for themselves, don't they?
Well, and I think, too, that's something we're going to hammer on this episode is our YouTube videos, thumbs up and subscribe. That's going to help us. It's going to help us get our message out more. But it wasn't all bad. So I got another post here. We've also been making a lot of memes because, what's the point of life if you can't laugh at yourself? But our photos, 1,783% more views than on average. How about that?
1,783 to put it in other terms, if you like.
There's a comma. And so that was cool. We got another one
So
here.
Somebody cares. Somebody's there. Somebody's watching.
They're watching. We might be, the negative feedback might be the loudest, but everybody's watching it.
The hate watchers. They're loud and clear.
So we've got more here. Some reels, 100 plays, and the rising contributor in the Ontario indie wrestling. How about that?
And as a Battle Arts Rising Star, I'm quite proud of that, and I want to defend that. And there's some other people rising in that group, and I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, people like Matt Grant, and we'll talk about you later. But we're the rising contributors, and we're going to defend that crown, aren't we?
And you made this lovely little picture here.
Well, that was a fan creation. I make a lot of the graphics here, but this was a fan submission, and we are the rising contributors of the Ontario.
A throwback to the Battle Arts days, right?
Absolutely.
So the rising contributors, the rising stars, cast as cast can.
And we've got the Battle Arts prize pupil, and we've got the first ever champion in the history of Battle Arts ever. I
was champion too. So let's see what else other posts we got. Oh, we got the Spartan. So this one's actually interesting because this one was removed.
Yeah,
this one was removed, but it's it seems our message is still getting out there, but there's some resistance by the administration to squelch our voices.
Yeah, they were just squashing them like that. I mean, we did a similar post. I don't think we have the image here, but you can see it on our page. You can see it in the board. We did one about Bradford Montague's interaction with our posts, and we poked some fun at him, and that's fine. But that post is there. That post is live in the group. But this one got taken down suspiciously, and it's about the Iron Spartan who's been interacting a lot more than most. And props to you, Spartan. You have the balls to call us out, and we appreciate that. You got a problem, you call us out, and we were calling you out right there.
Hey, wait. So I think we have the screen cap here. So we put this post up, okay? And right here, Iron Spartan, your first video talked about passive-aggressive behavior. These podcasts are passive-aggressive high school girl behavior. Okay. If you guys have a problem with a wrestler, challenge him to a match and bring up these points to a face. Oh, God, if I fought Steve Brown, then I don't know. I'm disappointed in both of you. I still like the Spartan. What do you think?
I really want to like the Spartan. I've really always wanted to like him since I first met him. And he might be the most abrasive person I've ever met in my entire life. And
he's certainly loud.
And yeah, and it's like he enjoys making enemies. He's horny to make enemies. And let's look at this in detail. Let's really break this down. So first video talked about passive aggressive behavior. Yeah, we definitely did. Yes, right. Mm-hmm. The podcasts are passive aggressive. Well, Spartan, here's a guy. He posts. He talks about people being masked. He makes challenges. He vague posted. He made a video about us that was talking about podcasters. That was a vague post. We're talking about you right now, Spartan. Any problem I've ever had with you, and I really respect you because you had a problem with me once at a show. You came up to me and you talked about it, and that's fine. There's been other situations where you reneged. And then once we talked about it, you made posts about it online, calling me out. That was against what we talked about in person. But that's neither here nor there. What is here, though, is that we have no problem and no challenge needs to be issued. I don't have a problem with Steve Brown. I've wrestled Steve Brown. We're merely looking at your posts, the posts of others, and seeing what's the truth and what's not.
Well, I mean, I don't see passive aggressive or vague because like this is my face and that's my name.
That's right.
Over here.
Same here.
And same, you got the same over there.
That's right.
And and this is public, so I didn't really get the comment, but you know I still like the Spartan. I'll say that again. He's a good dude.
Well, he's getting a lot of likes on his post here, isn't he?
Well, that's usually what happens with the Spartan. Yeah, 11 likes.
Oh, okay, I know that's unusual. I think
we're
taking the Spartans' heat in this group.
I don't, but we got 11 likes on the Spartans comment. We got Bill Chase.
And there's some very interesting ones, aren't they?
Bill Chase. We got Tyler Tico Collins, Davin Christensen, Jesse Brown, Noah Canavan Tuck, Bradford Montague. How about that?
Bradford Montague. We know you got something to hide. We're coming for you, Montague. Don't worry. We'll talk about that later.
But then to that end, so because we were called out on the vague post, I actually pulled up an actual vague post. So I've got here.
So we're going to be explicit again. We're going to what is a vague post? Are we being vague? No. We're exposing your lies. We're exposing your posts. We're putting it out there for everyone else to judge and decide. And here's what you can decide on what is a vague post because we think it is one.
Yeah, so I've got and of course this took me like 10 seconds to find because you just go on Facebook and look up Steve Brown. So Steve Brown says, "Man, everyone is so opinionated. I've been wrestling in the business since I was 17. I couldn't imagine."
No, if I may.
What?
Man, everyone's so opinionated.
Oh yeah, you could.
I've been in the wrestling business since I was 17, and I couldn't imagine saying half the things non-talents say. No one cares about what you think. When you talk trash, you're only hurting the promotion or talent you are most associated with. Don't at me, don't DM. If you think this is about you, 90% chance it is.
Well, see, here's the thing. If you can make that 100% if you just tag the person.
Yeah. So this is vague, right?
And like I think this is the whole point of the podcast is because we're going to take posts like this,
yes,
and talk about it.
This post is from 2020. It has over 41 reacts to it that are all positive. And
but the question is, are 41 people clear on who he's talking about? I doubt that.
I doubt it. But they're supporting the fact that he's talking shit about who? About what? They just like the shit talking. They like the vague posting. They like the speculation. And we definitely don't. All right? And we're putting an end to it because to us, that isn't what pro wrestling is all about, is it?
Well, pro wrestling's controversial, to say the least. Or it used to be.
And one thing to say about Spartan, you have called people out. You're saying we should call Steve Brown. We don't have a problem with him. I've wrestled him. That's fine.
I'll wrestle him.
But, so Spartan, where has it gotten you challenging wrestlers to matches? It seems like you're trying to prove your point by dragging us into your abyss of nothingness, of challenging people you've mentioned like Tarek, like myself, like Josh Alexander, like others you've posted about. And where has it gotten you? And in order to justify your stupid thesis that that's what wrestlers do, professional wrestlers. No, professional wrestlers don't wrestle for free in a backyard. It's a profession. If you're talking about morality, that's one thing. If you're talking about defending an ideal, that's one thing. We're talking about professional wrestling. We're talking about a business with standards and practices that are sort of unwritten, that have come into the be understood by those involved and the observers through tens, if not 100 years.
And what do you think we learned last week? I mean,
there's a lot to be learned.
Well, there was a lot, but I think those standards weren't upheld, right? Because there was a lot of posts and a lot of debates and a lot of opinions put out. We went through most of them or all of them. And then we saw the video, and the video did not maintain those standards. And I'll take an opinion.
And even after we revealed the video, we still had people saying, talk to me. Hear what happened. Don't talk about this event. Don't talk. Man, everyone is so... But don't have an opinion about pro wrestling unless you were there.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Or unless you're a select person or unless you have select status like Steve Brown. No.
I would have liked to see what happened if we did the podcast last week without the video. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Because things got real silent once we upheld the mantle of Batman that Steve Brown seems to like to wear. And we shone that bat signal in Ontario indie wrestling, and it became a ghost town, didn't it?
So I got another post here. Let's go back, look at some more feedback.
Another vague.
So actually, I made this post. I'll take credit for it. I drove past this on my way to my events that I'm always booked for. And I made the media was swarming the venue last week because Steve Brown still ran a show last week, and amidst all the controversy.
You say the media was swarming, and I understand that's a hyperbole. That's an exaggeration. That's tongue in cheek. Because right now this venue looks like a Somalian daycare to me.
That's timely, but I mean, absolutely, there was nobody there. At least at this time.
Tell us more about
but
that.
Even I think we're going to get to that later, but there wasn't really many people there.
Let's be clear. We're investigative journalists. That's what we're doing on this program, and you conducted an investigation.
Yeah, so we made this post, and we have a comment here. This is Kelly Job. What kind of Nimrod picks on Demand Lucha? We're like the most harmless company in the city. Get real. Also, I don't know what I'm on about with Demand Lucha heightened security. We had one guard as usual for Demand's Parkdale Hall show, and I seemed to be backup security, but I was sick and missed the Oshawa show. So, ellipsis, ? Here's the thing. Okay, a lot to unpack there. Here's what I heard.
First off, I want to say I don't know Kelly Jopes. I appreciate the impression.
I think I know her, but I don't talk to her. I think I know her, but I don't talk to her.
Okay.
But here's the thing. I heard that there was heightened security. I heard the police were consulted. And, I mean, if Kelly's saying she's security, my question is, does Jordan pay you? And if he does, is it more than minimum wage? Because I'm pretty sure the answers to one of those questions is no.
So hold on there, Runyon. I was going to talk about this later, as you may or may not well know. But on the topic of heightened security, we've been digging into Steve Brown a bit. We could have chosen other examples for vague posts, but you chose some Steve Brown vague posts. And we've been getting some DMs. I've been getting some DMs of people who want to be vague, who want to exist in the shadows, and I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to confront you right now, Runyon. I'm going to confront you right now because it's the reason that there was that security.
Well, yeah.
And a lot of people are saying it was you, and you were threatening.
Well, okay, so we didn't...
And that post is a post that we're talking about people deleting posts, and you deleted a post, James. You deleted a post.
I didn't delete a post.
In the Ontario board.
Nope.
You didn't delete a post in the Ontario board.
I did not.
That had to do with Rex Atkins.
I didn't delete that post. It got flagged for inappropriate content.
Oh.
And then I had the opportunity to appeal it, which I said no because my point had already been proven. But here's what happened.
So what happened?
We didn't talk about this last week.
Uh-huh.
And the reason why we didn't talk about it is because I just didn't really think it was relevant to what we were talking about.
Absolutely.
But of course, when we made such waves that we did, the people come at us from all corners. And I made a post in the Ontario Indie Board. And this was around the time when the Steve Brown controversy was probably at its highest. And we talked last week about Mike Clark. And like I mentioned, he calls me a lot. And... this is around the time the controversy was at its highest, and he calls me and he's lamenting because Demand Lucha can't sell tickets for their show. I guess they ran too many shows and they were struggling selling tickets for their upcoming shows. So, like, here's the thing: my pro wrestling brain kicks in like immediately, and I'm like, okay, well, why don't you turn the Steve Brown thing into an angle? And like, it's always funny when you talk to the troglodytes about pro wrestling because they just don't get it. But, of course, Mike Clark, well, how do you do that? And I'm like, oh, okay, well, watch numbnuts. So I make a post on the indie board. And I put, hey, at Rex Atkins, I would tag you,
naming
but you blocked
names,
me.
might I
so
add.
that's pretty as direct as you can get. And also, I would verify it, but I don't have a copy of it. So if you want to verify it, you can email at cassiscascan@gmail.com.
We've gotten some good screenshots from some supporters that you're going to see later, but we'd really appreciate one of this if you have it. Otherwise, you're going to have to rely on Runyon's work.
And actually, I'm going to say this before I forget. If you DM us about stuff, we're going to respect the DMs. We're only here for public stuff. But
again, we're not slinging mud. There is some stuff we're going to be talking about tonight that are from DMs. And we're not going to reveal the identities of those who
we're not going to show screen caps. That's pretty lame. No. But back to my public post. So I went, hey, at Rex Atkins, I would tag you, but you blocked me. I go, I wouldn't go to the Demand Lucha show on Wednesday if I was you. Might be a bad idea, ellipsis. And I left it. Okay? Now, people were saying I made a threat of physical harm to Rex Atkins. Do you see a threat of physical harm in that post?
Well, obviously, we've seen that people like to read between the lines on this board. A lot of these fans, a lot of these people who interact, they would fail a grade 9 media literacy course.
Well, fair enough. But I mean, like, he shouldn't go to the show. He'll kill the crowd. He'll undermine the integrity of the show. Yeah. And he's not worth the $80 that Jordan's going to pay him.
These people are using their imaginations to read into your post the most negative way they could view you and the most threatening way they could view you, as if they have a bloodlust themselves, and they're projecting their views upon yourself, and that's how I see it.
And I mean, I think it's really because Rex had a big egg on his face because he was exposed as a liar.
Absolutely.
You know, and here's the thing too. Like, I like Rex. Do you like Rex?
I've always got along with Rex.
Yeah, I like Rex. So like, it really just comes down to, like, if Rex wanted to solve this, the easiest thing he could do is just say, you know what, I messed up. I shouldn't have did that, and I'm sorry.
But we're not telling him he needs to do that. You judge for yourselves.
But so the post got a lot of attention almost immediately. I guess maybe there's a lot of vitriol behind Rex Atkins. That's why it got so much attention. But there was one comment that I wanted to mention.
What's that?
This comment was deleted. I guess Jordan was getting an anxiety attack when it went out.
Now, who's Jordan?
Jordan, the promoter of Demand Lucha. I'm sorry.
Some of the viewers might not know.
Of course, you're right. It was by Bruiser Battersby, and he says, let me see. I'm gonna paraphrase. I got it. Okay. He says, "That's super professional. I hope to be like you one day." And this is the problem when you text, because I don't know if he's being sarcastic or serious. Because, I mean, sarcastic, okay, fine, but at the same time, I am super professional. I could see why he would want to be like me.
Okay. Okay. I understand. We get it now, Runyon. Well, obviously, we don't have screen grabs. If you have screen grabs, you want to prove us wrong. I don't think you're going to want to at this point because the screen grabs are going to prove everything James was saying was true. And the verbiage proves that he didn't threaten anybody. And no cops should have been called and probably were called anywhere, despite anything you might hear. Because why would a police department respond to something so ridiculous?
We cast the questions and catch the truth. But, like, here's the thing. Like, even if I was threatening him, which I'm not admitting to, and if you read the post, I didn't, wouldn't that be normal decorum in a professional wrestling business? Wrestlers threatening wrestlers?
Well, usually it's something wrestlers talk about, but I think we've talked about this enough, James. I think obviously it's a personal situation.
Well, no, I just want to make one more point. I want to make one more point. The problem is with that post is we're not dealing with professional wrestlers. We're dealing with marks. So, no, I didn't make any threats of physical harm. The fact that the cops were called is laughable, and I think we can end it on that.
If they were.
We don't know for sure. But I definitely heard about, there was a Chinese guy and an Indian guy at the Demand Lucha show.
And again, you were requested to delete that post. It wasn't,
well, I don't know what happened. It came up as,
flagged that it was gone.
It came up as abusive. Yes.
Just like the Spartan post, what was wrong with that? I don't know. Anyhow, let's move on.
We're going to move on. We've clarified that. So we had another post that went up by us right here.
So here's a great post.
Here's a good post. This is Mike Clark in all his glory. You can see he's on top of his chair metaphor that he often likes to throw around.
At a chair show.
He's got his fanny pack of money. He's got a cigarette in his mouth, and he's screaming on his phone. And
he's angry at something online.
Oftentimes he's screaming at me on the phone, and then I just hang up. But anyway, so because we got some traction on this post, right?
Absolutely.
So that's
very
why we're showing this.
Very significant view count. But there were no shares visible. So people were obviously sharing this, but not in a way that could be detected necessarily. Just like viewing the podcast
actually, let's
on
consider
YouTube.
This. With all the accolades that we've caught and the attention that we've caught, imagine how much attention we caught if we could track that. So we had 600 views on YouTube, and we probably have more with the social media.
There's probably over in the excess of 1,000, 2,000 for the Mike Clark post, almost 2,000 views for that post you just saw.
So let's go through some of the comments here that we want to talk about. So we got Marcus Dodd. He's saying, two wrestlers taking a jab at Rex Atkins' podcast, Catch as Catch Can. What was that about?
So let me read that. So apparently you're saying Rex had a podcast called Catch as Catch Can.
Yeah, see,
if that's
I
the
had
case,
no idea.
Firstly, that's not original. Because calling a podcast Catch as Catch Can, okay, like what does Rex Atkins have to do with Catch as Catch Can? I don't know. Yeah, we've studied that with Yuki Ishikawa, who was trained by Carl Gotch. Right? One of the god of Catch as Catch Can in this past century.
And then Ruari here. Wow, that's pointless and weak. I actually quite enjoy Rex's podcast.
So we looked a little deeper into this. We gotta
look into this. Okay. So we've got right here.
So here
we so we pulled up Rex's podcast.
Yeah, we looked it up.
And
we researched. It took us a few tries.
It was hard to find.
So it's called Catch as Catch Up.
We got In 4 years, we got 6 views. In 4 years, we got 6 views. That's less than one a year.
And the next one here, it says 1 view in 4 years. So that's 0.25 views per year. And Ruari, you said you're a great fan of it. So I imagine
it must be Ruari that's watching this. And he only watches it once.
You're the 1 view. And guess what? Obviously, like it looks like they have more hosts than they do viewers. And we can't really comment.
The hosts aren't watching their own show.
But remember this, Runyon. We weren't there. We weren't one of those viewers,
That's right.
4 viewers. So how would we even know about this? How would anyone know about this? Yet we're copying his podcast. So there's 1 viewer, but one is Rurari, and the other one is the other guy who said we're copying his podcast. Okay. Figure that one out.
Right. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, and then we had this comment. So it's all because of the Steve Brown incident they're doing this. It's really immature of them to take shots like this. They probably weren't even there. Well, we weren't joking about this argument.
The Steve Brown situation and the footage was definitely what made us put this together. But that was a symptom of a greater sickness that we noticed.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of misinformation getting spread, and a lot of people not having the balls to put their name on the line. And as we talked about, we've already proven, like my name's right there, and over here, and my face is here, and like for you. So, what else we got here? I think we got some more comments on this post. I'm gonna pull them up here. Al Riddick is saying fill us in, and Davin Christensen says, I could fill you in, but nobody asks me. So what are you waiting for?
Again, so vague. At me in my DMs. And you know what?
Hey, come into my DMs so I can lie to you.
Exactly, because in public, you know you're going to get eviscerated. You're going to get caught by Cast as Cast Can. We're going to shine our bat signal down on you, and we're going to catch you in your lies. And guess what, Runyon? This is a perfect opportunity. This is a perfect opportunity for me to call out all those vague posters. And I hate saying vague posters. It has too many syllables. It has too many words. And there's a lot of words I want to use. And another thing. Last week, some people were getting more upset about words that Mike Clark was using rather than the terrible actions of Steve Brown that we revealed. Steve Brown was attacking fans. Steve Brown was abusing fans. Steve Brown was drawing first blood. And all these people sneaking around being vague. Well, read my lips. Because just like I said last time, I innovate, I invent in pro wrestling and media at large, and I've got a word for all of you hiding in the closet. All you Vaggots.
Well, it rhymes.
That's right.
Yeah, so
let's talk about this Vaggot right now. Let's talk about Davin Christensen. Are we done with Davin? Can we move on to the next one?
We got Davin, and then we got Samantha. What's her name? You know this girl. I don't
Samantha.
Know this girl.
She manages Steve Brown.
She was there. So there's all the vitriol involved with not being there. This girl was there. And she says, I could too since I was ringside for it. How about people just stop posting negativity?
And this
What's negative is what happened.
The screen grab was sent to us. This was deleted.
And you know what, too? Steve didn't comment publicly or go in our DMs about anything that we talked about.
Absolutely.
And, like, okay, sure, let's not post negativity, but also why don't you address it?
Did we post negativity? We looked at 2 sides.
I think we evaluated both sides, and we then looked at video proof of what happened.
And we asked you to decide for yourself.
It's both sides, and then I think it's the middle. Eh?
And if you disagree, you're free to post the comments. But the only disagreements had no proof, no evidence, just like Rex's post.
Rex's post that we proved to be false.
Absolutely.
Right. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, and then we got some more Kelly Job. Okay. So, well, I do agree. Please remember that it's the internet in 2025, and you're asking too much of some people. The poster of this podcast included. I guess it says the poster of this podcast included.
What did we do, Kelly Job?
I don't know. Maybe we can hire her to do some security.
Sounds like she just wants to get in for free. Anyhow, let's move on.
Yeah. What else? Okay, that's not important. So actually, you know what? In response to all this, there's actually a timely event that occurred in professional sports in the National Football League, and I got another video. About a physical assault, and I'm going to show the video, and then we're going to talk about what happened, similar to what happened last week. But we're going to try and keep this brief.
Roll it, Run.
But we got a video here. So DK Metcalf. Ooh. So, do you, Buck, have an idea of what that did for DK Metcalf?
That cost him a lot.
It cost him $40 million.
And
2 game suspension.
And he didn't even put the guy's head against its taint and try and powerbomb.
Yeah, and there wasn't even the taint involved.
All he did was a little bit of a pie face.
Right.
He?
And
that's a $40 million shove, or would you call that one a push, Runyon?
that was I think that was a punch. So we got push, shove, and punch. Pie face. Okay, I'll give you pie face. What's worse, pie face or shove? Or
well,
push?
It's definitely not as bad as a punch, but it's imagine a punch for $40 million pie face.
But this is the thing. So let's just compare professional sports leagues. So we have professional wrestling and we have professional football.
Yeah.
And professional football fined him a lot of money and a 2 game suspension. What did Steve Brown do? He hasn't even commented publicly.
Other people told us he apologized, but we weren't there.
Oh, but yeah, we weren't there for the apology. So, I mean, I think the same rule should apply. If we weren't at the apology, then maybe it doesn't apply. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe it didn't happen.
Maybe it didn't happen. We don't know. And it's unfortunate that they've taken this hill to die on, because now we've made them look really silly.
But you decide for yourselves and let us know in the comments. Let's move on.
Right. And then, so this was good. So we got a photo of Steve Brown ran a show this weekend. So
yeah, we just talked about that.
All of the controversy that came out with Steve Brown. We've got a show here, and we got about 10 or 20 potential physical assault victims to get heat. But it didn't look like there's many more people there.
And according to Rory, that's what you when you pay for Steve Brown, that's what you're to expect. You're to expect this type of method of generating heat, which is okay, all right. That's.
I think that's just poor professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And then we got another show here. So Dave Wildstar, GCW, booked Steve Brown, even though he's surrounded in controversy.
Now, a lot of people have told us that we're sort of we're going into business for ourselves. We're slinging mud. We're not. We're just showing what's out there.
Yeah, and I think we're just talking about things, and that was really the main point of starting the podcast, was to bring these subjects public so that conversation can happen and solutions can be reached.
As we said before, if you want to book the 1-star of professional wrestling, Caden Felix versus Steve Brown, do it by all means. If you want to do it, book Mr. Marvelous. If you want to do it like a tag team, we'll do that.
That's the Spartans' point, that we should fight Steve Brown.
That's fine. We'll do it. We have no problem with him. That would.
I mean, a fan almost beat him up, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, sure. I mean, a fan beat him up. Can the 1-star? I don't know.
I don't want to touch his taint, though.
I've had some encounters with fans. If you want to bring up footage of that, that's fine. And it definitely didn't go the way it was going to with Steve Brown. But if you want to see that match, book it, and that's fine. I have no problem wrestling Steve Brown. Let's go.
Okay, so now we finished that. We got there's another controversy this week. So we mentioned we started the podcast because we wanted to bring vague posts public to generate conversation. So we have another post. We
want to drag the Vaggots right out of the closet. And some of them are going to come kicking, screaming, and punching and chopping out of that closet. There's a lot of brown stains we're talking about, and we're going to talk about a lot more. But let's talk about the next one you have lined up.
The next one, so I'm going to pull it up here. We got Matt Grant.
Ooh,
yo.
Juicy.
Here, do you have a Matt Grant voice?
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay, I'm just going to talk. I don't know. What's Matt Grant's now? So, it's actually real sad that Mike Clark has to call promoters and to try and get me unbooked. I've barely met this dude, and he devotes so much effing attention to me. Like, what's your argument? I'm small? I mean, that's a good argument. Cool. Stay stuck on your old ways, but quit effing slandering my name and effing with my money for no reason. Interesting. Screenshot this and send it to him because I don't have the energy to unblock his stupid A.
So now the first thing I want to say about this, Runyon, the first thing I want to say about this is that normally we wouldn't share screenshots like this from private profiles, but it says screenshot
well,
this.
Well, it's Facebook. It's Facebook. What's private?
I know, but normally we haven't done that yet, and we don't really do. This is a profile. This isn't his necessarily wrestling profile, but he says screenshot this and send it to him, and we can assure you that Mike Clark watches this.
Facebook's public. There's nothing private on Facebook.
Whatever. That's just our approach. That's what I believe. Anyway,
I mean,
go on.
I think it's funny that he thought it would be faster to have other people screenshot it, send it to him, rather than just unblock him and give him a phone call. How about that?
Well, I mean, he says had the energy to unblock. Stupid ass. He'd have to find his phone call. I'm with Matt Grant on this. I got to tell you, I'm with Matt Grant on this, Runyon. So,
is this because you don't like Mike Clark?
So yeah, I'm not going to get into my personal issues with Mike Clark, and the ones I've dealt with them to his face, and that's fine, and I practice what I preach. But if it's true that Matt Grant has a problem with Mike Clark, and it's called for Matthew Grant to block Mike Clark, then this is a fair way for him to convey his message, and we're happy to help him with that here. If Mike Clark, I mean, if promoters want to book Matt Grant, that's on them. You know, Mike Clark has complained to me about wrestlers, and, you know, if you have a problem with those wrestlers, make a product you're proud of.
Well, but we talked about earlier the vague posts. Okay, Mike Clark is calling promoters to try to get me unbooked. Okay, but like two things here. One, which promoters? And two, what did Mike Clark say specifically?
That's true. That's pretty vague. That's pretty vague. But so, at least he's putting it out there.
He does put his name on it. And he puts Mike's name on it.
I appreciate that.
But you open that window of this is going public. Yeah. And like put all your facts on the table, right? Like, and that's really kind of what we're doing with this podcast. And there's another thing here. He claims that Mike Clark is messing with Matt Grant's money, and I thought that was interesting. Did you find that interesting?
Well, if Mike Clark is doing that, and Matthew Grant is hearing about this through the grapevine, perhaps we can assume from the promoters that are booking him, from the bookers that are booking him, then, you know, he's trying to get his message, his perspective on this out there, and I think this is a fair way to do it.
Well, but here's my point, okay? Like, does Matt Grant have a legitimate source of income here?
Well, I don't think that's relevant.
Why?
I don't think that's relevant.
Why?
What's a legitimate source of income?
Something that you can live on.
Why does he have to have an income that he can live on?
Well, okay,
pro wrestling?
But
why
anyways,
is that imperative?
Well, I mean, because he's making a claim that someone's messing with his money.
Well, whether they're messing with $5 or $5,000, somebody messing with it is messing with it. And, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, pro wrestling. You're investing your time to invest in a future. You know what I mean? It's like becoming a doctor. You're spending money at first in order to make money later. And Matthew Grant is pushing himself in situations where he can possibly capitalize on a bigger opportunity later on, it seems to me.
Does he go to the gym?
How is that relevant?
I mean, I think so. If you're investing into this as a legitimate career, you would think that you would take the time to get into shape.
That isn't addressing the main point here. The point, if you have a problem, then it's the promoters that book him, and it's their choice. And we talked last week about being the change you want to see in the world. Mike Clark, if you are messaging promoters telling them to not book Matthew Grant, then why don't you just put on a better show that's going to take that attention away? Do you think Walt Disney Company, Disney Studios, cares about some YouTuber buying a shitty Avengers Halloween costumes and making a video that gets 40 million views on YouTube? No, they just make a better product and put it in theaters and put it on a better stage and a bigger stage. Who gives a shit? Well, like, you're selling for Matt Grant is what you're doing if you're truly doing that, Mike Clark.
So, well, to that point, I mean, Mike Clark's probably the biggest promoter in Canada. What do you think about that?
I think that's
well, he has this he has
that
the
I don't want to go down right now.
Well, no, because we're talking about Mike and we're talking about Matt and we're talking about some claims that have been made.
Well, in order to prove
or haven't been made,
then that's definitely when we'll have to
because you're saying that Mike Clark should be the change, and yet he's the biggest.
Okay, then he should do that and shut up.
He's Walt Disney
because Walt Disney doesn't come with his cybernetically cryogenically frozen head and criticize these YouTubers and make public posts on the Disney Twitter and the Disney Facebook saying, stop making videos with $50 costumes. Just be the change you want to see in the world and shut up about everyone else and stop selling for them.
Well, okay, but there's one other point that I want to make.
And Mike Clark is selling for Matthew Grant here. He's not being Disney. If you want to equate him to Disney with his CNE, and that's fine, I think but he's not acting like it. He's not acting like Disney.
Well, I mean, there is also a discrepancy in professionalism, but right now we're talking about this post. And as far as the money, I took 10 minutes, and this is all public. There's Matt Grant's schedule from October, November, and December. And I gave him what I think would be considered a reasonable rate, considering where he is and where he gets booked. And I can post a spreadsheet if you'd like me to, but I have it written down right here. And I went through his schedule, and then, of course, you have to factor in the gas involved because they're driving these places, and I'm sure they would split the gas. But essentially, if we're looking at approximately, he's making $50 to $80 a booking, and he gets all these bookings, and we factor in the gas cost. So we end up with, we got, for his total here, let's see. His total amount that he would gross would be $1,030. And he's got, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 bookings. So he's got 14 bookings here in 3 months, and he would gross $1,030. And from that, he would subtract the gas, which I split 3 ways. I don't know how many people he put in his car. And he ends up with $784. Now, if we factor in the merch that he would sell, say he sells a T-shirt at a profit of $12, and he gets an 8x10 for even 1 or 2 for $10 each, he ends up with $1,114. Now, let's factor in the amount of time that he'd be putting into this, and that would end up with about 8 hours per show, which ends up to $120. So he's doing this for $9.88. 28 cents, $9.88, which is below minimum wage. So, I mean, what are we splitting hairs here?
Well, let me tell you this, Runyon. I really didn't want to delve into this, but in pro wrestling, obviously, if you're in it on this independent level that even we are at, you can't be just in it for the money. And I'll tell you this about myself, and I'm not going to reveal my tax returns, but I'll tell you this. For a few years, I made my living. I made a pretty good living on pro wrestling. But it wasn't just going to shows. It was having a ring. It was being involved with the community and networking in order to leverage collectibles and do collectibles sales. It was renting my ring out as owning the ring. It was being involved in a TV product that I produced and so many other things. I mean, even you take a Colt Cabana. Here's a guy. He has he had his podcast. He had his wrestling career. And he would go to the merch table and he would lay out Lucha masks that he imported from Mexico. And he's selling those probably more so than his own t-shirts. So I don't think it's really fair for us to sit here and criticize Matt Grant, because in whatever money he's spending, he's investing in his future in the hopes that he can put himself in a situation where somebody is going to notice him and the value he holds. And with all these bookings, I tend to think he does hold some value. I can't speak on it for myself. I haven't really interacted with him or wrestled him or been around him enough to say, and that's where I sit on this.
I think if you're legitimately trying this for a career, you should go all the way and get a workout. And like, of course, you can't change your genetics, but work out, be a professional athlete, tan. And I don't get.
But who are you to say that he should lose? Like, how much did you say he was gonna net?
He would net $9.28 an hour.
Who are you to say he should net $9.20 instead of $5.32?
But Who
are you to doubt Matt Grant?
But I think the biggest point, and this was kind of part of the reason why we started the podcast, was to up our standards for professional wrestling. And I get it. I get that the boys don't make a lot of money because there's not a lot of money to go around.
Stone Cold Steve Austin put it out there that he was cooking potatoes in his car engine.
But what I'm saying is,
you have to sacrifice to be a pro wrestler. Some people do it for longer than others.
Let's figure out how we can grow the industry to where it can be legitimate source of income.
Well, that's fine.
What I'm saying.
But I don't think the actions by Mike Clark that we're talking about here and his interactions with Matt Grant are either here and there on that topic. I think we've talked about this enough. And if you have any comments on this, please let us know in the comments.
We got some comments here. Oh, you like this one with Andrew Love.
I mean, I think we shed some more light on this that we're not going to get into here, and I'd like to hear thoughts on those, but let's hear these as well. So we got Andrew Love's here.
Okay.
I'm gonna read this one, Runyon, because respect to Andrew Love, props to Andrew Love. From what I hear, he's in China right now, and as the first ever Canadian to ever pro wrestle in China, the 1-star Caden Felix. I want to give China some props, and I want to do this, if I may. Only 2 people ever love him, Pat Patterson and Terry Garvin. If you know, you know. So that's Andrew Love saying that about the situation here with Matt Grant and Mike Clark.
Are you familiar with what he's talking about? I am.
Oh, I'm familiar. And there's a little
there's
YouTube
a lot
video
of
you can look up.
A lot of YouTube videos.
Geraldo Rivera show from the 1980s.
A big scandal with Mike Clark.
Mike Clark has a big interview
but
in there.
I'm not really into making light of potential sexual assault.
Absolutely, I'm not going to make light of it, but it's Mike Clark.
I liked your accent. I like how China represented on the Cass's Cast Camp.
All right, represent. More power to you in China there,
Andrew. And I think we got some more comments here. Some big names. Jimmy Corderas lending support to Matt Grant. I thought that was interesting. He says, if you need someone to have your back, I'm here, Matt. Whoa. So a big league. Jimmy Corderas lending support to Matt Grant. That's just interesting. And we got Donnie De Silva. Matt, just call the cops. There's a pattern of criminal harassment impacting your revenue. So that's another point with the money. Like I don't know, Donnie De Silva actually thinks he's got a lawsuit here for what? It had to be small claim score.
You call the cops for something like that?
I mean, a lot of people calling the cops apparently. But the funny thing with that too is,
I tend to think these people might be on the ACAB crowd. Probably, correct me if I'm wrong.
But you know that Jimmy Corderas and Mike Clark go way back. You know that, right?
I would imagine.
I'm gonna explain. They started out with Jack Tunney, both of them. And the funny thing is, Jimmy Corderas liked Donnie De Silva's comments. So Jimmy Corderas also thinks there's a lawsuit here potentially. Maybe Steven.
Preposterous. That's preposterous.
I mean, $9.28. Wow. Okay. So we finished that. Now we got one more thing before we close this out. And all these indie promotions, they have their own titles, right? And we thought we need to make a title. So we have here the passive-aggressive heavyweight championship.
Remember, we talked about the Attitude Era, the New Generation Era. So many great eras in professional wrestling. And right now, especially Ontario indie wrestling, but also wrestling at large, is languishing in this passive-aggressive, in this zombified corpse of wokeness dragging forward as everything else, every other aspect of society is advancing and pushing the boundaries. Pro wrestling is just languishing in this passive aggressiveness. And as we talked about last week, we really delved into it. And now we're going to award a title for the first time this week.
And it goes back to our episode last week. So if you haven't watched it yet, go back and thumbs up, subscribe, all that stuff, share it. And but I think we got 3 candidates. So I think we got Mike Clark, we've got Steve Brown, and we've got Rex Atkins. So do you have thoughts on that, or do you want me to start?
Well, we made our decision. We might as well just make it public right now.
Well, hang on. So yeah, all right. So let's
without further
ado, we've got it. We've got a champion. He went over. He's got the belt, and it's, oh my goodness.
So with regards to everything last week that transpired, that we analyzed, that we showed you the footage, it's one thing for Steve Brown to, in the heat of the moment, I mean, as wrong as he was, he did apologize. We'll give him that. He drew first blood with the fan in the heat of the moment. There was some violence. He apologized. That's fine. But it's another thing. All the accusations, all the lies, the focal point of all of those was who you're seeing on the screen right now, Rex Atkins.
And I think, yeah, that was kind of where we ended up, because it's like it's one thing to get angry and do something, and then it's something else to lie and cover it up, even though you know you're lying.
That's right.
And again, Steve it was a close race with Steve, because Steve hasn't addressed any of this yet, but Rex did address it and got a big giant egg on his face when we showed that video. And
a big brown stain.
A big brown stain.
And we're not done. We thought that big brown pile at the rock pile, at the buck pile, was done with last week. We didn't want to talk about this anymore, but we're having to give this one a big second flush this week.
We had to do the second flush.
Big courtesy flush.
And like, it's just funny how, like, Rex turned into the victim. You know what I mean? Like, he makes a mistake, and then, like, because he's been in my DMs. I don't know if he was in your DMs, but it doesn't matter. But, like, he just turns into the victim. Like I don't just admit you fucked up.
Well, that's the whole mindset here with all these faggots. But they're victim blaming. They're hiding in the shadows. They're doing these vague posts.
Just admit you did something dumb and say you're sorry, and we might not have even done this episode.
Or your boy did.
But I think we're gonna close this out. So this is the Cast Cam podcast, and we cast the questions and catch the truth. And we need you to thumbs up. We need you to subscribe. And
don't be one of the Vaggots.
Yeah.
Put it out there. Show your support. Be the change you want to see, because obviously you all want to see this change. Over 600 of you.
We got 600 views and like maybe 10 likes, 10 thumbs up. I'm not, guys. Like, if there's a market
maybe
here.
Maybe 10 or so subscribers.
We brought this public because we want to generate the conversation. So we're having the conversation. You guys are interested in the conversation.
You obviously want to see
spread it.
So come out of the closet. Don't be a Vaggot.